Now, radio frequencies are becoming a problem for everybody because we love the portability. We love the devices. You know, our cell phones are with us. We put them in all sorts of places. Women put them here. Men put them in their pockets.
Even our little this, which is a performer, is sort of a necessary evil too. I've always wondered how much, you know, I have to wear a body pack and a wireless microphone. Fortunately, it's for a short burst of time, 90 minutes a show.
See, okay, so these things...
But it's right on my body, you know what I mean? Like, I'd love to find if there's a shield, maybe I can put between it and my body.
You can get that from Less EMF or Safe Living Technologies or a number of other vendors. I'm sure you have others. You can put the websites there. So these things send out a signal when you're on a call.
Can we measure one?
Sure.
Let's get a close cam on this.
All right. So here's something, especially when you take. I'm going to put this.
Come all the way over. Jump, read, so he can see those numbers.
All right. So I have this set.
You want me to hold something?
Well, I have this set. This is a Gigahertz Solutions HF59B, and I have it set in.
And this is a big pricey one, right?
Yeah.
A couple grand.
So I've got this. Yeah, I've got this in maximum mode. So it's measuring now in milliwatts per meter squared, not microwatts. This will drop it. Then you notice that this little mark will go down. Okay. So that's from all the stuff that we have going on.
So it's amplifying all the radio signals.
Well, it's picking it up, and you can hear the sound here through the speaker. And so right now, it's relatively low, and I'm going to put it on peak hold. So that means that when the burst... So when you take a phone out of airplane mode for the first time and it reconnects with the tower, it always... so it's in airplane mode here. So we're going to take it out of airplane mode.
And airplane mode really is real, right? It's really cutting off the signal as far as we know? Because I remember we tested mine and it went virtually down.
Yeah, I'll answer that in a moment. This thing hasn't stopped yet. Just stopped.
Right.
The whole time we've been talking in the last 10, 15
synchronizing data with the tower.
And this, all right, it's not done yet, okay? Now, this thing is blank, and...
Here, I'll hold this up.
Okay. So you can see it's floating. Here. It was going to 12,000. When it goes above 20,000, it goes blank. That's 6,000. This is near your head here. That's over 20,000. 18, 12,000.
So when somebody's pushing that against their ear, what's happening? Because you were the one, this is going back to my point, you made me the police about this. After you shared all the data, you were one of the ones that made me.
Well, here's the thing. Where's 20,000 relative to these guidelines?
But what's actually happening when they push it against their ear? Do you know what's actually happening?
Yeah, I'll go into that. So 20,000. Where's 20? And it's well above 20,000. I can put a little attenuator here, and we can actually read that.
It's also, we have noticed it's intermittent. So this is different than like a cordless phone, which would be broadcasting
continuously.
Yeah, all day long. Same thing with a Wi-Fi. They're just, if this was next to a Wi-Fi, I'd just be doing this. In fact, even these are broadcasting. So this is this is the body pack that I would wear, similar to. Well,
it shorts out when you touch it. It shorts out.
So this is similar to what I would wear on my body for a show to monitor my own, in-ear mix, as they call it. So that's continually.
Yeah. So 20,000 is 20 times the beginning of the extreme anomaly or extreme concern range.
Okay.
And I'm sure it's much higher than.
So when they push it against their ear, then what's that doing?
So according to the research that we discussed in the last hour, it causes voltage-gated calcium channels to not function properly, so you lose your communication between cells.
Nutrition not to be absorbed.
Nutrition doesn't get absorbed. Waste products don't get released, which is just as important. And the DNA fragments. There's heating of the tissues at close range. I mean, there are a lot of biological effects.
I was listening to a lecture. I think it was one of the people that worked with Klinghardt talking about that. Maybe or maybe not. You know the science, but it was something to the effect that even holding your phone while it's on, when they measure your heart, is actually changing. there's so much happening when you're holding an activated cell phone, when it's touching your hand, touching your body, that it actually changes something about your heart. So pushing it up against your ear.
Well,
and typically we also know that if you store it in your left, bra, or if you push it against your right ear, that typically is where the tumor is. If your purse is against your right hip, that's where the tumor grows.
It takes time for cancer to develop.
It's not overnight, right?
But I'm told that cancer...
Not what your doctor would lead you to believe. They want you, you got to do it tomorrow, you got to have the surgery tomorrow. It just happened to you all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
But I'm told that these wireless devices tend to shorten that time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so in terms of solutions, we recommend the following.
Yeah, you've got great stuff over here too. We'll get to that.
All right. So we recommend 3 things: reduce use, increase distance, and favor hardwired connections whenever and wherever possible. So what I do with clients is to take each of the ways in which we use these wireless devices and go through them one by one. So we have telephones, we have internet, and then we have everything else. The media, security cameras, baby monitors, thermostats in this category here. So for telephones, when you're home, we recommend that people keep their landline and don't use a cordless phone to get the phone into the house for various rooms. So how you get the internet into your house is not an EMF issue, right? In most cases.
It's just how you disseminate it in your house.
And how you get the telephone signal or TV, any of the 3 of them, into your house is not an EMF issue. It's going to be on a hardwired cable in most cases, unless you don't have that. You're in a rural area and you have dish, even in an urban area. Anything coming in over a cable from the cable company or the telephone company through UVerse or Fios these days, or just the copper.
So the point where it comes in the house is safe. After that, it's a mess.
Yeah. So how you disseminate that to different rooms, to different TVs, to different computers, and to different telephones can be wired or wireless or both.
Right.
So for telephones, we recommend that you use the telephone line in your walls and use the jacks that are in your rooms, and have a hardwired connection, which you can get from the telephone company, from the cable company, or even
from... anything, so if they have an old school handset with that thing coming in, plugging right into a phone line, is there any EMF traveling up in the phone that's problematic?
No radio frequencies.
Okay.
Well...
maybe some electrical...
Okay. I must put in here that... that radio frequencies coming in from outside or from devices in your house can be picked up by metal paths, including wiring, and retransmitted to small degrees. I don't measure it. I've never measured it, even with this $2,000 meter. We don't measure it. But people who are electrically sensitive do feel it. So I'm not saying that there's none, but it's really small. And if you're electrically sensitive, it's there. And we have a difficult time trying to get rid of that. That's a whole nother layer to this, which I can go into with someone, but not now. For the majority of people, if you hardwire things, you're going to be much better.
Of course, so Cat5 cable, obviously running for internet connections, which we talked about. It's a good solution.
So just to finish the telephone, so we recommend be careful not to buy a hybrid. See, now, okay, so we have a telephone base unit, which has the cord that goes to a telephone jack. And there's a cordless phone in the cradle charging up. So when the phone rings, you reach down, you pick that up, you press on, and then you talk. Well, these things are sending huge amounts right in your ear and coming at you from this. So if you have this on your desk...
Is it dramatically above a cell phone?
About the same. Okay. Well, it's huge. They're both...
Is it about equivalent to like a Wi-Fi router?
Yeah.
So you're basically holding your Wi-Fi router up against your ear.
You're talking about tens to hundreds of thousands. Tens to hundreds of thousands of microwatts per meter squared.
Right.
Is what we're talking about. Now, the extension, the handset that's in the other room, in the charging cradle, that's not transmitting when it's off in the cradle. But when you pick it up, and if the phone rings or you want to make a call, and then it's going to be just as strong as the one over here. And by the way, the Gigaset, Siemens has the Gigaset in Europe, which shuts off the transmitter in the base unit to save. It's called the EcoDect. DECT is digital electronic cordless technology. and that means cordless telephone. The Eco Deck is shuts off. They don't sell it in America, but a guy imports them from Europe and sells them on eBay. I have a link to that on my website. But all the cordless phones made in America, except for the old 900 megahertz. But I think the 2.4, most of the 2.4s, all the 5.8s, even the 6.0, which is version 6.0. It's really 1.9 gigahertz. But they're all.
By the way, the research shows that those cordless phones, the 2.4s that you mentioned, are the ones that make mold. Like if you have internal mold issues from a moldy living at some point in your life, that makes it go. That's when it grows its defenses. Like,
and wouldn't that happen with the 5.8 and the version and the DECT 6.0 as well? I would think.
I'm sure they all do. I just specifically remember in a lecture that basically the 2.4 was what they did a lot of the research on.
Okay, a few years ago.
And they found out, that was.
So that's really strong. Those things transmit all the time. Mm-hmm. Even when you hang up the phone, put that.
Even when your neighbor has it in his place, it goes through. How far is it going into your place?
Well, depends on what you mean by at what level, because it drops off exponentially with distance, and walls do weaken it to some degree. Okay.
So it depends on how thick the wall is.
Distance is your friend. Well, how many sheets of sheetrock? And there is shielding.
Can you approximate? Is it going to get through 10 rooms or 2 rooms or 1 room or? 10 rooms?
No, you won't pick it up 10 rooms away.
Okay.
But 1 or 2 rooms away, yes. Okay. But remember, see.
So it'll come through your master bedroom. It'll, like for us, we have the master bedroom into the living room. It might be broadcasting all the way through if they have a cordless phone on the other side of their wall.
Oh, yes. But remember, the difference between being able to connect versus whether it's harmful to you. There is a difference between those two. In other words, you can be 2 rooms over and have it relatively low relative to the number you get with this, and on this chart here, and now you're getting down into the slight level or no level, which is 0.1 microwatt per meter squared, which is very difficult to get in an urban environment, by the way. But if you can, and you might have a neighbor over there in the next house, or in the other part of the house that you're in that has these devices, but it's going to measure low here. But remember, if you've got an extension handset in this room and the phone rings and you pick this up, and then now you're getting blasted from this thing that's right next to your head. So we just say get rid of those things and get a corded, get out your old corded telephone and plug it in and use that. Now if you go to the store and you get a corded phone, a new corded phone, and it has a springy cord on it and it's a corded phone. I have clients that say, Oram, I got a corded phone. I'm good now, right? I said, yeah, but you see it says DECT 6.0 on there. And I turn this on and it's buzzing like crazy with a high number. They say, it's corded. What is this? And I said, well, it's cordless. He said, no, that thing that came in the box, the handset that's in the charging, it's in the closet.
If it's got a charging cradle, it's a problem.
No, it's the base unit.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
Like it's a hybrid.
That's a charging cradle is the base unit, so we're saying the same thing. If it has a cordless phone component, it's a problem. Totally.
Well, but the difference with this one is instead of having a cordless handset in the base unit, it has a corded handset with a cord. And they think
it's still got a wireless second piece.
Transmitter in the base unit, right.
But that also means there's a separate phone, so they would be able to tell this has got a corded and wireless component to it.
That's how you know.
I think most people would know that if it's just a phone.
I have several clients who made that mistake, and they were devastated. Now, and the way you know
is... So did you get that? If it comes with an actual cordless phone, it's a problem. If it's just a phone with a cord and no other components that are wireless or hands-free, then we're talking about a safe device. And also the DECT 6.0 is either on the box and on the phone, or not on the box and not on the phone. That's the other way to tell. Okay. If it says that, it's cordless. Okay. So that's telephone. And then we tell people, tell your friends. So here's my favorite question. Wi-Fi. Is there a biologically friendly or safe Wi-Fi anywhere?
Is there a biologically friendly cigarette?
That you know of.
Is there a biologically friendly cigarette?
I didn't think there was. There is rumor. There is a rumor that the guy that built the Integratron in Joshua Tree also built a biologically friendly Wi-Fi device, and I have not tracked that information down.
All right.
But anyway, if you don't know about it, then I'm assuming that's as far as we go.
So that sounds to me like it's someone who's taken some of these scalar technologies that are that we talked about in the end of the last show, or podcast, and incorporated that technology into a Wi-Fi unit. Now, if that's the case, if it's Wi-Fi, it's going to put out a signal. We're going to pick it up.
Right.
All right. And then that doesn't talk about what are you connecting it to. Why do you keep the Wi-Fi on? And granted, he may have made it biologically less impactful on people sitting near that base unit. I give him credit for that.
Like I said, this is all rumor. That's why I wondered if you knew of anything.
You know, and the problem we have soon is that for people in my profession, I mean, the engineers in my profession, they think that's a bunch of hooey, these things, because they're engineers, they're building biologists, but they're engineers too, and they say it doesn't change this. Right. It's you know, it's like whatever. Something's still coming out of it. It's gotta be. Yeah. Now I'm in the other camp. I say there is evidence that it helps, and besides the three things that I mentioned, the rat DNA, the thermography, and the cooling, the blues and greens, and then the rouleau formation goes away, and the red blood cells are not as sticky. And then the fourth thing is just thousands of testimonials from people who say, "I feel better when I wear these things." That's fine. So I say, my opinion on this, and the position paper that I wrote on my website, and I helped draft a position paper for the building biology profession on this subject for these subtle energy devices, which is to say, we're not opposed to them. If you want to use them, that's fine. But we would say don't use them as your sole or exclusive means of protecting yourself. Still get a building biology evaluation, or do as much of this stuff on your own as you can, and reduce the actual sources, at least in the environment that you have control over. Now, you can wear these things when you go out and at home. I mean, if it helps you, that's great.
So what is some of this here? So by the way, we're well over an hour, so we've got cameras rolling. I know it's tough to shorten these answers, but if we could try and knock out a couple of things here before we close up. What do you have? What's the most exciting stuff you've got here that can help people out?
Okay, so
obviously, guys, there's so much more to this topic, and it's difficult to get short answers out of this, but let's try and go through a couple of things. Because you had talked about making Wi-Fi slightly more safe, even by putting shields over it. That would reduce the volume of the...
But I always say to people, when it comes to Wi-Fi, I have a father here in Southern California.
Did I derail you? I don't want to derail you down. Well, show me what you got here.
Well, this guy said, you convinced me to move the router from from the closet next to her bedroom into the garage. I'm going to put it in the garage, and I'm good now, right? I said, well, you're halfway there, but why do you still need the Wi-Fi? Oh, because she uses it to do her homework in the afternoon on her laptop in her bedroom. And I said, well, what is she doing it on? Her laptop. It's on Wi-Fi. That's why I'm putting it out there. I said, do you realize that the strength of the signal coming from that laptop is as strong as the router you just moved? He said, oh, I didn't think about that. Right. So why have Wi-Fi? You can't be. You asked me, is there safe Wi-Fi? I don't know what this gentleman is doing with making that Wi-Fi, quote, safer. It's less impactful, but what are you using it with? Yeah. Well, you're connecting to your laptop. Well, then so he's probably putting stickers on those. If you're going to talk about stickers, I put that whole conversation aside. I mean, I'm here to help people to...
Yeah, let's see what you got here. Go through this, please. All right. Yeah, let's see what you got.
So, for people who have iPhones and iPads, not Android phones and not Android...
not the Google tablets
right.
and stuff.
Well, except for Google, there is one device that will do this, and not Kindles. But iPhones and iPads, it is possible to get on the internet through the Lightning port in airplane mode.
Boom! This is cool. Okay, so you can Cat5 cable, is that what you're saying?
Cat5e or Cat6, yes.
Okay.
So, how it works is, so this is an Android phone, so don't focus on this. This is an LG, but the Lightning port on an iPhone or iPad.
And we've got an iPhone right here too.
Well, we could even do this, but so it has a Lightning port, and the older ones have a 30-pin port. So the Lightning.
What's this called, and where do they get it?
Okay, this is from Amazon or Apple. This is called a camera adapter. It's Lightning to USB. But you must use Apple parts for this to work. You can't use a third party, or it won't work.
Come around the side.
Now, it turns out that on a laptop, the Ethernet jack on any Apple or PC laptop is powered. You can go straight in to the router with your Ethernet cable because it's powered, okay? Right. So, and on the new thin Mac Airs and MacBooks, there is no Ethernet port.
Okay, this is awesome.
So for that, there is but they have a USB port or Thunderbolt. So you can have a USB to Ethernet adapter or Thunderbolt to Ethernet adapter and go right in because it's powered. However,
so it's a two-part system here. So we've got
but hold on. All right. So the problem with an iPad and an iPhone is Apple does not power the Lightning port. So you need something that's powered
as
an intermediary. And what we use is a USB hub. A USB hub.
So these are the three things, right?
That is powered. No, there's 6 things.
Oh.
So the USB hub has to be powered. It cannot be a PoE.
Okay.
It can't be power over Ethernet. It has to be powered electrically.
Right.
And so this goes into the wall. But you notice it's 2-pronged. I will get back to that in a moment. This power goes into here.
So now we have a
Type
USB.
2 or 3 USB hub. Type 1 is too slow. It must be a Type 2 or Type 3 powered. All right. Now this is the active input. This is the outputs. This is the input. This goes into the phone. But in order to interface this USB to the phone, you need that. And this is, so we have a plug, we have a socket over here, and we'll get the gender correct, and we put that in here, sorry, this way.
This is so nerdy, I love this part.
It's very nerdy. And then this will go into your iPhone over there. This
Hugo knows that when he comes over to my house, I'm going to have one of these in like a week.
Yeah. Now this has to be plugged into the wall. So this hub is going to be near the wall. And then in order to get this to interface with your Ethernet cable, you use a USB to Ethernet adapter. And here it is right here. Done. Okay? Now, because this is near the wall, and this is near the wall because it's plugged in, you need portability in the room. So that's where this comes in. This is a simple USB extension cable.
Right.
All right, so you can have 1, 2, 3, 4 of these. They're 9 feet long. So what we do
leave
is
that in a corner and drag that to your chair.
So then this will go into here, and then this gives you the room to get away from the wall into the middle of the room.
Perfect.
9 feet. So here's the other end of it. Goes into this, and now you go on your phone, and you can move around. And then what you do, you put this in airplane mode, and open up Safari, open up your email, and you'll always get an error message that says must turn on Wi-Fi or too much. There are some other error messages that come up. You just press OK, and you're on the internet. Now, occasionally you can't hotwire it. You have to turn this off, plug it in, restart it, and then it will recognize it.
Okay.
So
it's a little bit of a trick. And you said not Droid.
No.
Not Droid, and there's one Google device.
Yes, and I can't remember.
That's okay. So
a different adapter.
Device.
A different adapter.
Right.
But yes.
But otherwise, this will work on an iPad, iPhone, anything that'll take this. Will it work on older models of?
Yeah, there's a 30-pin adapter that you can use.
Okay.
But there's one more important point. Now, there are people who know about this, and you'll see this on the internet. There's a whole mothers group in Northern California that advocates this for the students in class that have the iPads, and it's all good. So there's one more thing that's really important. These other groups are recommending this, which is very good, because it eliminates that strong EMF. You can get on the internet without having the smoke.
This is the hugest problem for me with Wi-Fi, like turning off the Wi-Fi, because again, Klinghardt is saying it's non-negotiable. You have to turn it, if you want to get well, if you're sick with Lyme, you have to turn it off. There's no negotiation. So what I've done is, since there's not been a way to hardwire into the phones that I've known of, and to the iPads and such. So to have a solution like this allows me to have that last little reason where I can now turn Wi-Fi off completely.
Well,
right now I do it. By the way, right now what I do is I turn it on, and then I turn it off. Like I'll turn it on for a little short period of time to collect emails on the phone, and then I'll go over to the router, and you have to go in through a browser and then switch the antenna back off. So it's a bit of a process, and you can only do it while the computer's on, so it's not like you can do it at night. But this is a great new solution.
Well,
and somebody will make it elegant. Somebody will make one piece eventually, I would think.
Yeah, that would be that would be something that would be good to do. Something that is overlooked, not intentionally, is just they don't know. I didn't think about this until about 2 years ago, and that is I was eliminating one type of EMF and creating a second type. I was eliminating radio frequency EMF.
Damn you, Oram!
And I was creating a huge electric field because this is not grounded. So when you plug this into a phone, and again, this is an Android, so it won't go in here, but then you're holding this in your hand, and this huge electric field's coming at us, and you'll get tired, just like you do with a laptop. So the solution is the same as it is with a laptop. And this is from Less EMF. I don't know whether Safe Living Technologies has this as well.
Oh, it grounds from the USB port.
Yes, it's plugged to USB, see? And there's only one wire coming out of this, and it's only connected to the ground. These are dummies.
Right.
They end right in here. There's no live hot or neutral wire.
So that plugs into this?
That goes into an outlet that, again, you check.
Of course. Got it. And then this plugs. And then this will clean up the
goes
grounding.
in. Well, you've got 3 other ports here that you haven't used. So this goes into there.
Yeah.
And then this goes into the same or another outlet, like, put these into
Totally got it.
You're good.
Beautiful.
Now.
So when you retested, it went way down.
Way down. So the electric fields are way down. Now, we could go on for another hour about the nuances. For instance, what about calls and what about texts? So a couple of quick tips. You can't get a call because you're in airplane mode. Anything you can do with Wi-Fi, you can do with this. But you can't, okay, so, but for messaging, you can do iMessage, which goes through Wi-Fi, or this.
Right.
I think it's blue for one and green for the other. Blue for the iMessage for other Apple users, iPhone users, and green if it's Android coming in over the air, 3G, 4G through your data plan from the cell phone tower. And you can't do that when it's in airplane mode from the Android users. But WhatsApp still works. If you both have WhatsApp, that's a way you can connect with an Android user. But there's also iCall, which is a third-party thing that gives you another telephone number that's VoIP. It's VoIP. It's Voice over Internet Protocol. And that you'll actually have a new telephone number.
You can use your phone as a phone with it being
you can use your iPhone in airplane mode and get the call and receive with messaging on top of that to Android.
Of course, you can use Skype and other things too. I imagine.
Yes,
if you've got internet connection,
that's
you can
true.
use any other
So
VoIP.
there are ways around this. Now, but you said earlier, you said just a moment ago that echoing Dr. Klinghart, you want to totally eliminate this. So let me take a step back to help give some more important tidbits. Laptops. A MacBook, there are all sorts of lightweight things that simulate an iPad that you can just plug in with one of these, Thunderbolt to Ethernet or USB to Ethernet, and put it in, just turn off the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, because you don't need a cordless phone and cordless mouse.
No, that's another good tip is turn off, like even if you have all the Wi-Fi off and you have, like I have an iMac, you have it broadcasting Bluetooth to the keyboard. So the keyboard's got Bluetooth, the Mac Mini's broadcasting Bluetooth, the mouse is broadcasting Bluetooth, so you've got a lot of stuff. So
continuous.
I switch all of that off at night. Yeah.
Well, but I would suggest that you switch over to a corded mouse and keyboard and stop using a cordless one.
Yeah.
And you have to turn them off because the mouse and keyboard, if they're left on, they'll broadcast in the drawer.
Yes.
For months till the battery runs out. And you must turn. Switching over to a corded mouse and keyboard does not turn off the Bluetooth.
For some of those.
You have to go up and turn that off.
Well, now they're making Mac Mini. They don't make these computers with enough ports to have corded stuff anymore. They're like closing off all the ports. So I'm just giving options.
There's an adapter you can plug in, and then you get all the different things for earphones and stuff.
Some of them have docking stations that then expand or port replicators.
And then And also for PCs, Windows 8 and 10 have airplane mode. Just put it in airplane mode and it shuts off all this stuff. But you have to have a connection. Now then the person's going to say, well...
Have you measured some of those computers in airplane mode?
I don't pick up any RF when any of these things are in airplane mode. I know people say that they still broadcast.
This is in airplane mode right now. So this is an iPhone.
Well, yeah, but here's the problem.
Something.
There's no point in trying to... We got too much else in the room here. See,
would proximity make any difference if I was to hold it closer or farther away? Would it?
But it's well,
we're just picking up too. We got too much jamming in the room.
Yeah. I know people say that Apple still uses these phones to go as pass-throughs to the tower from one Apple user to the tower. I've not measured that. But I'm not saying they're wrong. I just have not measured it myself. When the phone's in airplane mode, I don't measure anything. I recall
when you were here, we measured my iPhone. I think actually that phone is what I had at the time, 3 years ago. And when it was in airplane mode, it was relatively dead except for a minor magnetic field from the battery itself.
Well, okay, that's different. This doesn't measure magnetic fields.
I'm very clear. I'm just saying as far as what's coming off of the phone.
Oh, yeah, there's still other EMS.
Back to quick tips. I don't mean to drive the point home, but I know you could talk about any topic all day and night. I want to give people a couple more quick tips. So, okay, we've got a wireless, we've got a replacement for wireless internet for iPhones and for cellular devices for some of them, certainly. And then we've gone over most of the equipment that people can buy. Well,
remember, so for laptops, so then the question comes, how do I don't have this in my room. That's a big question.
Right.
The router's in the other room or on the other side of the house. How do I get it into my room? Well, there's 3 ways you can do that in a hardwired way. And there's pluses.
Is one of them the way you convert through the electrical outlet?
Yeah, that's one way. And that's using what's called a network adapter. And this, you get 2 of them in the box, plus you get 2 Ethernet cables. And this goes into the outlet, and it has an Ethernet jack on the back. See, the best way is to have somebody put this in your crawl space or basement or attic through the wall. I mean, it could be cut, and I have a big box, and we roll it out, and I know how to do that. But
this is another option.
Well, and the other option is this turns the electrical circuit into the path for this. Okay, now I know some people are groaning because they're saying, Oram, you're missing the point. I know what they're thinking. This does create dirty electricity because it causes these harmonics at the zero crossing point of the sine wave. So it makes the dirty electricity levels on this go up when you plug this in.
So to use one of those little...
Well, that's like drinking a lot of coffee and then taking something to get you to, like a sleeping aid, you know. I mean, so if you're sensitive to dirty electricity or you want to avoid that, then don't use... That's not the way to go. That's not the way to go, is to put this in and then put one of these in, you know, green wave or Stetzer filter to knock down the dirty electricity. Unless I have a client who doesn't want to spend the money to have somebody come and put this in.
We used to install that stuff all the time.
And they're not going to do the third one, which is mocha. And this is the only way they're going to do, you know, you pick your poison. If you're trying to get the RF down, some people can tolerate these without, you know, I mean, it's really kind of...
Did you say there was a third way?
There is a third way.
What's
it's called
the third way?
mocha, Multimedia Over Cable Alliance. It's 2 boxes that do the same thing as this, but they do it over the coaxial cable system.
Nice.
Which is shielded.
Okay.
And it's not a sine wave, so there's no dirty electricity. Or if there is, it's shielded.
Yeah.
It doesn't get radiated into the room. So electrically sensitive people say they can handle mocha. They can't handle this, but they can handle mocha. The thing is, you have to have a continuous coaxial cable from one room to the other.
Got it.
And the TV cable guy from Spectrum or Time Warner, whoever I was talking to, said, yeah, that kind of interferes, in his opinion, with the speed of the TV connection. But mocha works. So
is there something you recommend? Should somebody wear like a glove or a protective thing when they're holding a phone, or is that what you like these kind of things, dependents and stuff, for the most?
Actually, oh boy, I mean, it's like saying, well, is there a safe cigarette?
Sorry, I'm just trying to get safer.
I know.
Is there something to...
So when you're away from home, when it comes to...
And there are safer cigarettes. They have better filters.
I know.
There's ones with more chemicals. So my point is there's levels, and I'm trying to get to like...
Well,
can they just reduce a little?
So reduce use, increase distance, and favor hardwired connections. So if you can't use hardwired connections because you're away from home, then reduce use and increase distance. So hold off on some calling till you get home, and increase distance. So the question is, how can you communicate in a private way when the phone's over here? Mm-hmm. Well, you can have an earphone, but that allows some of these signals to be carried up on the surface of the wire.
Like those beads.
Ferrite beads, yes. Snappy, and then also the air tube earphones that have plastic in the last 6 inches, or speakerphone, but that's not private, or the air tube earphone. That's a good way to go.
Do we know yet? Does anybody...
And also cases. You can put this in a case.
Oh, right. Right.
And Less EMF sells cases. Many other vendors sell cases. Living Harmony Project has handmade cases here in Los Angeles, which helps. It's a tax-deductible donation to this organization, started by a colleague of mine who I work with. And I've measured them, and they're 99% effective. So I have a page now, EMF products and order codes, on my website. And I'm an affiliate with all these companies. I get a few dollars if you go through my, some disclosure here. But however you want to get to these companies, that's fine. But there is a link there.
I get no money, though. But hey, back to this.
So there are cell phones available.
Let's get back. Let's kind of wrap this up. We're going into 2 hours here now. Okay, so we've got some solutions for cell phones. Do you have a favorite button for the back?
I don't recommend these chips and pendants.
Perfect. Good answer.
I'm not opposed to them. If people want to do them, I know.
Hey, if they really worked, your phone wouldn't get reception.
Yeah, and so I just say reduce use, increase distance, and if you want to use one of these chips.
Earthing mats, you like them?
Only if you reduce the electric fields to begin with.
And then also if you make sure that your grounding outlets are truly grounded.
Yeah, but yeah, because I have electrically sensitive people and people
That's
who
a good
are not.
point. So if you're buying earthing stuff and you're not actually properly testing with one of these to make sure,
you got to do that.
Then you don't know.
Well, you're running the risk.
Working,
yeah,
right.
and it is better to ground to the earth outside. It is better because there's less dirty electricity on that than there is on the grounding system of the house.
Back to, I had a question. You talked about something, it was in the conversation about shielding smart meters from broadcasting. It reduced the load of broadcast.
Yeah, smart meters is a whole
Does that work the same way for Wi-Fi? Like, was that was it the same shield that goes around the Wi-Fi that reduces it?
Okay, so Smart Meter Guard is an engineer in Central California. He makes the smart meter guard that goes over.
And what about for Wi-Fi?
Well, he makes the router guard. It's a box. I have one in the car. I should have brought it in. And he makes a bigger box now. And then the cords go in, and it's about 90+% reduction. Of course, if you start out at 20,000, microwatts, then you're still at 2,000.
Yeah.
Or no, you're still at 2,000.
It's all degrees, man.
It's all degrees.
Sometimes it's all degrees.
Exactly. And then there's a signal tamer, which is Less EMF sells, and they also sell the router guard. But Less EMF has this signal tamer, which slides over the router, and it's still, if it's 99% reduced, it's not enough. But you got to move that router away from the kids or from your desk. Don't have the router right next to you. Don't have it in the bedroom.
Don't have it anywhere near where you sleep.
No way.
Nowhere near where you sleep. I'm the police on that. When I walk into people's houses, I see they put it in their bedroom. I mean, when I met you, I think I had it at approximately midriff level in my desk where I worked for 8 to 12 to 20 hours a day editing projects and stuff. Yeah. I had it right there. So yeah, you move that as far away from people as possible. The shelter, the shield reduces maybe 90% of that for some of us that maybe have to have it on for a minute until we have these solutions.
So we teach our students to evaluate, and our clients to evaluate where they sit, sleep, and stand. Those are the places you need to focus on. It doesn't matter what's going on over there. If there's a field of any kind over there, but it drops off by the time you get to this place where you sit, don't worry about it.
Are there any just your personal opinion? Quick answer. Do you have pendants that you like over others?
I don't have an opinion about those things.
That's the answer I remember getting when you came here.
Because I am so busy, sir, in focusing on helping people to
get rid
understand
of the source of the problem.
sources,
Sure,
the ashtrays, right?
Yeah.
Rather than which brand of air purifier.
Well, we got to go out in the world. At the end of the day, I can't control when I'm out in the world or I'm hitting the shopping mall. I can't control that there's the giant tower broadcasting stuff. I'm just trying to see, like, when I'm in the world, because I'm not living in a third world country, how can I reduce my risk when I'm not in an environment that I control?
I have an answer for you.
Yeah.
My profession's answer is, if you
Wear
do
silver
all,
underwear.
Well, besides that, if you reduce all these other things that we help people become aware of, I'm not saying we have all the answers. I'm just saying that we have a lot of important things that are gaps in the knowledge of individuals who are EMF aware or Lyme sufferers or whatever. And that is, if you reduce these other sources of EMFs substantially, where you sleep and where you sit and stand in home, you actually improve the situation. You're not as sensitive when you go out.
Right.
That's our answer to that whole issue. I'm not opposed to these things, but there's so much more people can do. If you reduced all these other things, especially electric and magnetic fields.
It's a great answer, yeah.
Totally overlooked.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people in the EMF community who are very compromised and very sensitive to RF. And and they have a lot of this stuff in their houses. And we reduce them, and then it helps their sensitivity to these other things. That's a consistent thing that we've found over the years.
I think I have two final questions. Mm-hmm. Again, these do not need to be in depth, and this one can even be a humorous answer if you want. What do you say to skeptical people that are skeptical of?
I encounter them all the time.
Of course.
Because
what do you say to them?
Well, I say,
like, no, this doesn't hurt.
Well,
my cell phone's not killing me.
Well, to the physicists, I'll say, look at the data. Look outside the United States. Look at what other countries are doing about this, who pay for the health care of their people. Okay? And why are they paying attention to this? Yeah. Because there is something to this, number one. Number two, I do, if I have time or they're interested, I will get into the money trail and the corporations and all of that. But I'll also say, it turns out when I go over this stuff, and I see this very consistently, I'll have someone who's symptomatic, their spouse is sitting there like this, because he's tired of his wife being sick. He's tired of spending a lot of money for stuff that doesn't work. And he's sitting there, and, they've invited me in, and I can feel the vibe. And she tells me right up front, and he tells me right up front, he's a skeptic. So when I go into this information, and I don't take sides, and she calls me up and says, when you get here, you got to convince him not to use his cell phone so much. I said, I'm not going to go there because immediately he'll dig in his heels, and he won't listen to anything I say, and doesn't even know me because I took your side. I'm very diplomatic in the way I say this, but let me just do my normal thing. So what happens is I go through this research. I go through what I essentially have covered in the last time, and I can time it on my watch. 20 minutes. He softens. He realizes I'm not taking sides. I sound like I know what I'm talking about. This is credible research, and they start to say, "Oh, I didn't know that." Oh, and then they go through the Kubler-Ross death and dying stages, like denial at first, and then what are they? Acceptance, and then and they get to the point where they realize, oh, wait a minute. You mean there's efforts to
invisible things can hurt me?
That and how come I don't? Oh, you mean the corporations aren't? Oh no, and then they just like
then the dots connect.
I don't want to. Yeah, but they don't want to go down that rabbit hole
because everybody knows, but nobody quite gets. They know it's corrupt,
and then they realize
they know that the government is writing.
I don't want to go there. Yeah, but still
writing laws that the corporations are funding, right? Like when they asked for kratom to be scheduled, right? Kratom or even CBD oil. When those things got scheduled, it wasn't civilians that scheduled those things. It was Bayer. You know what I mean? It was the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world. People know that, but they don't get quite the impact of how much information has been withheld from us because of that, because of the way that rolls. So I got it.
So what happens is they soften, and then in the majority of cases, they do a 180. And for the rest of the day, they're warming up to the process. They're warming up to me. They fall all over themselves to help me because they realize this may make an impact and make a difference for
they see
their
the benefits. Yeah.
Yes. And they realized that they were a bit of a jerk at first, and I'm cool with the whole thing because
I think this is like the formaldehyde. This is like the fluoride of this. Well, the fluoride's still being discovered to be bad, and
tobacco, asbestos,
but like all the things that were one thing, and that now we realize, oh, maybe we shouldn't,
But as I said earlier, not everybody's going to develop these symptoms. More than half of the population will never develop symptoms from the use of these devices, and
maybe.
So that's. Well, no, I'm serious about that because
but I mean, maybe it shows up in your kids or your kids' kids, or maybe all of a sudden you're sterile, or maybe your symptoms aren't.
I know,
like even the sign, like in the case of Dr. Klinghardt and Lyme, he says perhaps with the Lyme spirochete, people could have the same infections and live in a cabin in the woods with no running electricity, no cell phones, no Wi-Fi, no power grid, no stuff over them, and they would not have symptoms. Like this is how dramatic it can be in affecting the things that are already there.
I try and people hire me for one of these things, one of these EMFs, or just to get a healthy home. and when I get into the radio frequency stuff, they'll say, "Oh, don't take my Wi-Fi away from me." And I say, "I'm not here to do that. My job is to educate you and inform you and let you decide for yourself. But I'm giving you information that you don't have."
Okay,
and that's on purpose.
Last question. This could be a little esoteric. I don't know. I'd love to see how you answer it. Schumann resonance.
Oh no!
Has it changed? And if it has,
yeah, of course, because we've adulterated the whole.
And how do we measure
biosphere? Well, that's not something that we do in my profession.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, there are people. Well, I think they measure from space lately, don't they? Greg Braden talks about this. He has a great understanding of.
Well, I knew it got measured long before. Didn't it get measured long before we went? But anyway, okay. So as far as you know, the data is real. Like the Schumann resonance has. I don't actually know the answer to this. I'm asking. Has it changed as far as you know?
My answer to that is not from the building biology profession, but I know that Greg Braden says that it's rising, and it stabilizes at Fibonacci integers, stable Fibonacci.
Okay.
So he said. I forget the book, but in his lectures, we've gone from 7.8 to 15.2 or whatever it is, and then the magnetic poles are shifting, and when those cross, we have a shift of the ages. I mean, this is all Greg Braden, I'm just saying. That was from 10, 15 years ago, and he's updated what he says. So the point is, these subtle energies, we do talk in the building biology profession about earth energies, about ley lines, geopathic stresses, DC electric and DC magnetic fields, as opposed to AC electric and magnetic fields. So there are these resonances, and that's all being affected by the introduction of electromagnetic fields, including this practice in North America of combining the neutrals and grounds at the point of entrance of electricity and egress of the return electricity, so that current is on the grounding path and it gets into the earth. And that's what Dr. Sam Millam, in his book Earthing.
So we're changing it.
Oh, absolutely.
So the human condition is actually affecting the vibratory frequency that the Earth resonates.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes. And what do we do about it? Whew.
Do we know how it's affecting us?
There are others who. Yeah, well, there's Dr. Millam talking about dirty 60 hertz and multiple harmonic frequencies of that, which is what dirty electricity is, going through the soil and amping up the effects of ley lines and how that's affecting cows and people. That's been studied for many decades, actually. And in fact, the Electric Power Research Institute, the EPRI, which is a consortium it's a research institute up in San Francisco funded by the electric utilities. They actually published a paper that said, even up to 60-70% of the return electricity goes back to the power generating station, not on the overhead wires, but on the ground. It should be up on the wires. And when it gets on the ground, then there are all these illnesses. Dr. Millam was the former head of the Washington State Department of Health. And he kept noticing this. These symptoms that were going on that were related to electricity flowing on the earth. And for years, for decades, that was all denied. But I spoke to a client of mine back in Wisconsin who was a farmer, who's a third-generation farmer, and he said, my parents have a document from the 30s, an internal memo that was leaked from the utilities, the rural cooperative electric companies there, that said, yeah, we're dumping electricity onto the ground. And all the farms that are along the paths of these transmission lines were having problems with their cows. Yeah, it's all documented.
Yeah.
So.
Well, all right. So obviously there's a lot more we can talk about on this topic. We've gone for 3 hours. We've gone Joe Rogan length here, buddies. Now, unfortunately, we've broken it up over at least 2 episodes, maybe 3. We'll see how this pans out. Make sure you watch the first one if you've only seen the second half. In closing, I want to leave people with a couple resources. So obviously, we go to Oram's website. If you want to get a lot of information, you can go there, which is createhealthyhomes.com. His webinar series is on greenhomeinstitute.org. And then we talked about we'll flash some of the places you can buy some of these devices. Obviously, some are available at Amazon, some are available at these other, leftcmf.com and some of these.
And Safe Living Technologies.
Safe Living Technologies. And then, is there any other website that people should go to for great information? Any other stuff you mentioned?
There are a lot of links on my website to other websites that have research. One of my pages has links for websites of activists and advocates, and they have emails that go out, and that I'm on 6 or 8 of them, and every day I get stuff in my inbox on the latest.
So if you want to learn more, this is the guy to learn it from.
Yeah, thank you.
And seriously, thank you so much,
You're
man.
welcome,
Thank you
sir.
for fixing my house. Thanks for going into depth.
Thanks for inviting me.
I hope we got some questions covered for a lot of you. I know there's more. Whatever questions end up in the comments below, they could be future episodes that we have. Maybe we'll have him back and talk about mold at some point. Otherwise, thank you for watching Know How Things Work. If you enjoyed the show and you want to contribute to it, there are links below. You can donate for as little as $1 a month. Otherwise, if you like the music that's in the background right now, that's yours truly. That's all on Amazon. All this stuff helps the show out. Make sure you subscribe in the upper right corner or wherever it is on YouTube these days. And thank you so much for watching. I'm Siren. This is Oram. Guys, have a great day.